birds of prey are not sitting there thinking themselves as evil. They go, no, that's just who we are. It's our nature to take from you all that you are. In fact, we love you for it. We don't want you to not be. You wish we don't exist. We want you to be, to thrive, so that there's more of you for us to cull.
Disavow.
So in the scenario, no, that's how the world is. Do you want to be a lamb or a bird of prey? I think the answer is obvious.
You underestimate my power.
That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Holy global empire. That's all traders are sick, Peter.
Bitcoin.
Right? It's like if I was at a casino convention or whatever, and we're like, "Oh, these people are degenerates." Yeah, it's a casino. What are you expecting? I know who I'm talking to here. It's not casual people watching this. Not people going from some sort of Sam Harris meditation app to here. Well, maybe they are. They're not going from some sort of like Sedona, dolphins are people to aliens are among us and Crystal Skull type of people.
Hey, don't you denigrate. How dare you? You have a crystal on your desk. Show it.
This?
Yeah.
This dragon egg? To remind me of the losers out there who would buy and display a thing like this to know who I'm fighting.
Right.
You underestimate my power.
No.
Yeah. I don't. You think I care about this?
Yes.
You think this has any effect? Yeah. Sure. When I hold it and look at it, I feel more focused and powerful. But that's like so stupid. So dumb.
We don't know where people are coming from. They're coming from all walks of life, but everybody has one thing in common. They want to make money. So let's talk about that. Bitcoin, baby. So it begins. What's that about?
All right. So you guys remember last week, I was telling you that we were going to be in this period of consolidation, liquidity consolidation. And that's exactly what we got. Let me just pull up the chart here. So if we take a look at the daily, this is the chart of liquidity down here. Oh, I can't wait to get my mouse replaced. We have the sideways
when is that
period, Monday.
Yeah.
I was arguing with Logitech because I was like, I'm under warranty. I should get a brand new mouse. They're sending me a refurbished one. I go, what if the refurbished one doesn't work? Well, just let us know. I go, okay, so my warranty is reset for the next year? They're like, no, it's still going to be the same date. I go, well, then your policy says you either give me a new one or you'll refund me. So refund me, and I'll just go ahead and buy a new one from the store. And that way, I just have my year reset. They're like, no. I was like, excuse me? And it was a whole thing back and forth.
Okay.
They were so upset. I thought they were going to cancel my my refurbishment. Honestly, I was really pushing really hard. Last week, we talked about sideways liquidity, that we should not be expecting anything other than moving between the range of 116 and 102-ish. You remember this? This whole idea we're going to bounce sideways. We had an even tighter range than that. We never made a new high, and we never really made a new low. Right? That was pretty interesting. This is from last week. No, sorry. Last week is over here. Let's just go back to over here. So this is last week. So we just moved within this range over here, basically to the low. We didn't even get to the weekly level. God, we're not getting to these weekly levels. Like, we're such tight consolidation, which is so bullish. I don't know if you guys know how bullish that is. It means things are coiling tight, and it's going to explode in one direction, and it's going to usually explode in the direction of liquidity, and liquidity is up and to the right. So boom, we're going to get up. So here we had we had to move up from one of the daily levels. We bounced through daily levels all the way till we got to the top over here. And then we retreated back down to the same level, the same wave that supported us before. We're down here, and we're moving sideways. So the question is, so for the trades for last week, there's not really much to go on. We did have the level of that we called out of 107, what was it, 107.2? I believe that's what I tweeted out. So you guys remember this was the level to look for. And where do we eventually end up going? There. We did end up going there, but by way of dropping first. So this is where you got to understand what's the chart you're looking at. You're like, okay, I got liquidated over. Let's say you got in over here on at the beginning of the week. You would have gotten liquidated. The idea is to push it back on and go ahead and make it move up. In fact, you guys will remember that I'm often talking about over here Peter, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's the week previous. This is the week over here. The level here was 107. We did move up to over there. We continued. And then after that, there was no other real trade to deal with. This was the previous week. And then down here at, what was this? 1045. Right? This was last week's over here, 1045. This was the week before over here. So we went up to the previous week, and then we came down to the weekly trade. But I haven't really been pushing any trades for this period of time because of the consolidation. I've been saying now for the last couple of weeks that I expected the price to bounce in a large range between 116 and like 102, back and forth sideways. And it's not really something I like to trade much because it can go anywhere within that range. You're just going to get washed out constantly. So it's not something I really.
So when you say we can trade sideways, what does that mean?
You can. I don't call out trades that are not like basically more certain trades or where the rewards are super great. I don't do that. I told you guys last week and the week beforehand that if we got to 116 up over here, I would have shorted. And if we got down to our lower level over here, I had orders at 99, I had orders at 92, I had orders at 80, but we never got there. Those to me are perfect trades. Like those to me would have been perfect. So if I got up to over here and then we shorted and then we came down to over here, I would have been long and then go up over there. That to me would be great, would be perfect. But since that's not happening, we're just moving sideways, I don't really like trading the chop. You can, and you can use the indicators in order to do so, but I don't like doing that. So for example, over here, if we zoom into last week, we'll notice that we had green. Then it switched to yellow, and you see this red over here? So as soon as it switched to red, now on any rise, you can short. So you can short from here, you can short from here, and you would have made money on the way down, right? My problem is I would only short from here to over here, to the weekly level, which is something like, that was a 3% move. That's healthy. You can make 150% profit or a little bit more than that. That's fine. But to me, it's like there's too much bite at the apple. Like it's too many times I have to go in and out and go in and out. And I really like at least a 2x move. If I'm not going to get a 2x move, I don't really like being in the trade. Here, I would have over here, when we came down over here, if I wasn't paying attention to liquidity, I might have shorted again from over here. But that didn't work. That wouldn't have worked because liquidity is moving sideways. Anyways, all that to say is that I called out last week the idea and the week before that we're going to move sideways. That's what's been happening. There are opportunities to trade that range, but just using the indicators I have is not enough. You'd have to have your own technique and just use my indicators for the trend bias. That's about it. So over here, the trend bias, this yellow-red is biased to the downside. Green was biased to the upside. Red biased to the downside. Green, now that we're switched to, would be biased to the upside. Right? Today is we switched to green yesterday. All right. So for me, I'm just really waiting for this liquidity jump to happen basically tomorrow. Today, tomorrow is what I've been waiting for. In fact, that's why
Father's Day miracle.
Father's Day miracle, exactly. That's why I like these bets of what price will Bitcoin be in June. I'm still betting on the 150 gain because even right now, I was getting a 76-1 odds. You can get a 142 to 1 odds right now. In fact, I think I might even put more in today.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so I'll probably even put more. So I'd rather have that as my long position than just trying to get bites of the apple on the price here, on the chart. Plus, we had the whole thing of Israel bombing Iran. That happened right over here. This drop over here is not because it's funny, right? So we had this weakness in liquidity that we were talking about, and then a volatility event that happens on a geopolitical scale, and we have the drop down. Just in the same way that tariffs can cause the price to fall, in the same way that a bank failing could cause the price to fall, some sort of short-term volatility shock that moves the asset. These things can really liquidate you out of your positions. But you want to take a look at the magnitude of the drop, right? This drop at what might be the beginning of World War III is not significant, like compared to how much bullishness is there, right? You would have expected, I mean, if this price had fallen all the way down to 80, I would have been, that still would have been bullish. Down over here to, this is the 84 level, down to over here. This price could fall all the way down to here, and I would still say it's bullish. Why? Because our yearly trend over here is still, we're still above it. We didn't even get down there. We barely got down. It was like almost nothing of a bounce. That to me shows the bullishness of the asset, and that's amongst liquidation levels. That's amongst liquidation levels here, where we're still 14 billion, 13 billion short versus 500 million long. Like we're still overly short, right? So all these shorts have built up, and this is as much as we got. What do we get? A higher low. Lower high, but higher low. So this is a pennant that we're moving sideways in, and this means the price can move either way. And when you can move either way, what side do you favor? You said the favor in a liquidity. And when that explodes out, the idea is that the likelihood is that the price will move drastically up in the same way that it did over here. Drastically
Define
up,
drastic.
drastically up. Where it's we stair step up, like we move three hump camels up, and we get to 150. I think 150 is like an easy get at the next run up, which I think could definitely happen this month. And Peter, what am I going to do if it doesn't get to 150 this month and the bet is still there for next month?
I don't know.
I'm going to take the bet again.
You underestimate my power.
Okay. Take it again. Because the unless something happens in the chart that tells me we're going to be bearish, there's no reason not to take the long shot bets to the upside, because Bitcoin does move in these large moves when it does move. It moves in multiple standard deviations, multiple sigma moves. That's how Bitcoin moves. That's why the asset is so interesting. And so betting that Bitcoin will move drastically to me seems like, why wouldn't I bet on that? That's what happens when Bitcoin moves. We all know the stat that, what is it? You have to hold Bitcoin for basically 5 days out of the cycle to get all the gains of it, all the significant gains. Like 70% of the gains of Bitcoin happens over 5 days. Like if you miss the big moves, those are the big healthy moves of Bitcoin. Right. And so I like betting that those moves will happen. We talked about it, I think, on after hours for Traders Post, the idea of no, we talked about it on office hours. I can't remember which word was. I think it was office hours. We talked about the Incerto series from Nassim Nicholas Taleb, this idea of the black swan. And what's interesting about tail events, these outlier events, is that any particular outlier event is improbable, but that an outlier event will occur is almost guaranteed.
It's like particle physics, where if you see a plume of smoke, you can't predict where any individual particle will be, but you can predict the overall movement of the plume of smoke.
It's guaranteed, exactly. Or it is not likely that any given person will be above 7 feet, but if you were to bet that a person will be above 7 feet, then you would win that bet all the time. Mm-hmm. So someone goes, I'll give you those odds. I'll give you 100 to 1 that there's no one who's above 7 feet. You're like, yeah, I'll take that bet. Why wouldn't I take that bet? Or I'll get the odds that, so if someone says, I'll bet you that your child will be above 7 feet, don't take that bet. But if someone says, I bet that someone will reach 7 foot this month, okay, and what's the odds? 100 to 1. I'll take that bet 100 times. Why not? Might as well take it 100 times. So that's the way that I see it. And nothing that I'm seeing in the price. We have Middle Eastern war at the same time as the Gazan war, at the same time as Ukraine, at the same time as tariffs, at the same time whatever, and Bitcoin fell from the highs 6%. What is that? A Tuesday? Nothing. All right. So starting tomorrow, I'm looking for these price moves. I think that if these price levels hold, what we're going to see as of this week is pretty amazing.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Right. I think it'll be pretty incredible.
All right, can you give me
that's
something
for-
here? I want
Sure.
just a clean previous week, next week. So did you
Previous
lay out
week-
what the previous week's trade? Go ahead.
Previous week, there was no trades I was calling out. I said we're going to do sideways. Our entries were at 116 and 102. Because that didn't happen, there was no trades to take. When you're trading 50x leverage, you're looking for perfect entries and perfect exits. We didn't get any of those, don't get it. What we saw was that there was a large volatility event that happened during the week, and Bitcoin barely moved. What does that mean? Supportive flows. When we go look for the supportive flows, what do we see? We see a ton of people on the short side of the boat, right? So those people can't short again. In a sense, that 15 billion can't again short. We're already short the 15 billion plus more. So there's room for the upside. So we have this consolidation range, room for the upside, massive shorts. What are those shorts? Those shorts are Tinder. That's it for this week for Sunday Fuel. So fun to see everybody. Look, you guys are my disciples, my acolytes, and I appreciate that. Just always remember that I am only the voice for the Lord of Liquidity. And as accurate as I have been for weeks now, and when you're going to see Bitcoin blast off and get to 150, and we make all this money, I just want you to remember. That you don't want to worship me. I'm just a voice.
I'm just a vessel in velvet shoes.
Bye, guys. Take care. Happy Father's Day.